Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the brand new TALARIA Sting. Alright, so let's go ahead and turn this on. This one also comes with a push button that you have to use in order to start it. I don't like that. Oh my god, bro. Holy shit. I don't like that there's an extra step, but I have to do that with my upgraded motor anyway, so it's really not that big of a deal to me. But if you just want to hop on the bike and go, it is going to take you a little bit longer to get started. By like 0.5 seconds. What is good, you guys? Today we are out on the TALARIA Sting. I'm super excited to be out on this bike. I want to give a huge shout out to J&W Batteries for letting me ride this bike. But today I want to kind of review this bike and compare it to the Sur Ron. I want to come into this as if I'm going to be buying one, because legitimately I might. I really want a second Sur Ron or a second TALARIA, because if I'm ever working on the bike, especially before a big ride, I don't want to miss them if my bike is down. There's a lot of similarities, there's a lot of differences with this bike. I will get into those here in a second, but before we do that, I want to tell you guys that on November 10th through the 13th we've got the biggest Sur Ron ride in the country happening, and this time I can 100% say that it will be the biggest Sur Ron ride ever. We have guys coming in from New York, London of all places, literally flying in to ride some Sur Rons here. That's absolutely crazy. We got people from Cali, we got Sur Ronster. So many people are going to be at this ride. I am so stoked for it. And speaking of rides, I know a lot of you guys have been asking me how you can get on these Sur Ron rides if you have one. And I just recently started a DFW Sur Ron / Segway / TALARIA group. I will also leave a link to that in the description as well. And in that group, I'm going to be posting every single time we have ride outs so that you guys can come hang out. We'll probably do like weekly / bi-weekly rides, just depending on like weather and shit that week. But if you guys want to join on those rides, I will leave a link in the description so that we can have a little bit of fun, dude. Thank you, bro. You said nice ride. People love this thing. That's one thing that is a major similarity between the TALARIA and the Sur Ron. People still notice it, they still love it, and that's huge. Right off the bat, I'm noticing that this bike is big, man. It's tall. It's a little bit wider than the Sur Ron. It's a little bit taller. It's only about by a couple inches, but it is noticeable. Keep in mind, I'm coming from my Supermoto wheels, so that is a lot lower to the ground, which might make it feel even taller than it really feels. But it does feel taller. But my first impression of this thing, it feels much more like a motorcycle than an actual Sur Ron. I don't know if it's because this bike is brand new and like the suspension is just a lot better than what mine is, but so far this thing feels a lot smoother. This bike is noticeably quieter than the Sur Ron. The chain doesn't make as much noise and the whine is not nearly as loud, and I think that's a pretty good feature that this bike has. But y'all, I do have to be kind of careful today, because the last time Cole let me ride his Segway, I bought one, so it might end up doing the same thing today. If you let me test ride your bike, I'm probably gonna buy it. Also guys, this thing has like a bunch of brake sensors and shit, so I don't know how wheeling is gonna go today. I'm probably in eco too. No, I'm in sport. Really? Gosh, I'm just so used to the power of my Sur Ron right now. So one of the main differences that I'm noticing right off the bat is that the throttle is very, very different. When I give it a little bit of throttle, it's always the same amount of power no matter how much I'm turning it, and that's really, really weird. I'm sure with a few adjustments you can change that, but just right out of the box, not a huge fan of that actually. I'm also noticing that the seat is much more comfortable. I think it's a little bit thicker too, so that might be why, but definitely a more comfortable bike to ride, that's for sure. I also feel like you have more room on the seat. You can sit way further back. You can sit all the way up if you want. Like the front brakes are the same. The handlebars are the same. The front rotor, I believe, is the same. So is the headlight, the ignition, the mud guard. A lot of these things are literally just straight from the Sur Ron. Let's check out the speed on this. It feels slow, dude. But that's only because I have the upgrades on the Sur Ron. It's so hard to compare the stock if I don't have both of them right next to each other. But this thing is plenty fast right out of the box, you know. Some of the major differences that I see right off the bat, the grips look way better on this bike than they do on the other Sur Ron. This display is different. You got far more features on this display than you have on the Sur Ron, and it just looks cleaner. I really like the look of this. It's not that it looks bad on the Sur Ron, but it just looks a little bit nicer on this one. If I'm right, this comes with a fast ace rear shock, and the forks are different on pretty much all the Sur Rons, so it's kind of hard to compare it to all of the Sur Rons. However, I feel like so far these ones do feel quite a bit better. All right, this guy's just coming over here, eh? Are the brakes squeaking already, dude? Man, I'm almost getting hit everywhere, dude. I'm not gonna lie though, dude, even outside of wheeling and stuff, this bike is fun to ride no matter what. All the pros, all the cons aside, man, if you guys are just still looking for an e-bike, this is definitely a way to go. I'm just as excited riding this as I was the Sur Ron when I first got it. And I was so close to like not getting one, and I'm so glad that Cole let me ride his, because ever since then, dude, I have just fell in love with these bikes. So one of the biggest differences is the gearbox. On the Sur Ron, you've got the main belt drive. This one has the gearbox instead. This doesn't make a huge difference for my riding since I'm always riding street, but for you off-road riders, that'll be a big difference, so you're not getting all the dirt and stuff that's caught up in the belt. So if you ride a lot of off-road, or you plan on making this a complete dirt bike, that might be a big difference for you. However, for me, I don't really notice a like major difference. Looks like this back end is going to be a little bit different too. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know everything about it. I just know that it looks different, and I'm sure that there's a reason for it. I feel this bike feels like a more solid frame. I don't think it is. It's probably the same exact frame, but it just feels like a more solid bike. Now, it's also a little heavier, and maybe that's what I'm noticing. This bike is 135 pounds compared to the Sur Ron 110, I believe. And surprisingly enough, I noticed that 20 pounds. Who is this guy? Like, you need to blow your whistle for someone to take a left turn out of a parking lot? Wow, I just don't know if that's gonna happen with the sensors, dude. I want to wheelie this thing so bad, but I just can't. That didn't sound good. Alright, maybe with a little bit of time I could actually get the wheelies down, but it just feels weird, man. I'm not gonna lie, it feels weird. So did the Sur Ron, so keep that in mind. But also the taillight looks different. I love the look of this taillight a little bit better than the Sur Ron one. Not the biggest deal in the world. They both work. They both do their job, but I do like the look of this one a little bit better. You also got the 19-inch wheels instead of, I believe they're the 17s when they're stock. So they're a little bit bigger. You could probably fit a little bit wider wheels in this one than you can the actual Sur Ron. And not only is the tire bigger, but even the width of this bike is a little bit thicker. It feels so much more like a dirt bike than even the Sur Ron does. I kind of like that the Sur Ron is a little bit thinner, and for the main reason that, again, it looks more like a bicycle. I get in less trouble because of that. Thank you, bro. So people still love them, dude. That's the best part about it. I do like that you can grip this thing with your knees a little bit better than the actual Sur Ron. On the Sur Ron, when I put my legs here, I feel like I'm hitting the battery. And on this one, it's like right on the frame. It's right where this like little thing is. And it feels a little bit more comfortable than the Sur Ron. I don't know if I've mentioned this since I got my Sur Ron, but I don't actually have a Sur Ron. I have a Segway X260. The only difference between the Segway and the Sur Ron is that I have an app for my bike that I can change the regen, and I'm pretty sure that's like the only main reason for the app. But pretty much everything that Segway app has, this comes with this display. I can change the regen with just a couple of buttons. So basically what Talaria did was take the app, take the Sur Ron, and then mix the two together, because it is really nice just having it at the touch of a button. Pulling up the app is actually really annoying. I just turned the regen off and then never touched it again. One of the biggest things for these bikes is the price. They are expensive, but so are the Sur Rons. They're about the same price. I think this one might be a couple $100s more. But with the market nowadays, everything is so weird that you're basically looking at the same price for each. Now, I do want to show you guys this. Probably shouldn't do it in traffic, but I'm doing it. I love that this one has one cord instead of two, like the freaking... Okay, this is a major problem, like I'm telling you guys. Okay. That is the reason why it sucks having this button that you gotta press, because when you gotta press that traffic, that's really, really annoying. So the battery to me looks a lot nicer stock. I love that the handle looks a lot better. I love that it's just one cord. The Sur Ron has two. They made this a 2-in-1. I thought that was a great idea. Probably should have been done to the Sur Ron, but this looks a lot better. Now it also has a feature on the inside to hold your battery in, which the Sur Ron does not have. That's an awesome feature for this bike. I wish the Sur Ron had that, but it's such a small difference that I don't think that would, you know, be a game changer. One thing I can't say, this bike is just as fun as the Sur Ron, dude. I'm so passionate about these bikes. You could probably hear it in my voice, dude. I love riding these things. If I didn't know that there was a Sur Ron and there was a difference, I literally would still buy this thing because it's that much fun. I think the major thing that you guys have to consider when you're deciding which one you need to get is just the way that you ride. You know, I'm huge when it comes to street riding, to wheelies. I'm just like a freestyle rider versus like dirt. You know, if you're a big dirt bike rider, this might be the better bike for you. It's a little bit more solid. The wheels are bigger. It's a little bit heavier. You know, just those little things might make a difference when you're riding off-road. But for me, I ride a lot of street. I love the way the Sur Ron is. It's a little bit smoother in my opinion. But you know, even when you consider the little features, this one has a little bit more features than the Sur Ron does. It really is just a preference. Oh, my bad. What the f? Bro, that sensor. If I had them right next to each other, a brand new stock Sur Ron, brand new stock TALARIA, oh my god, that's such a hard choice, bro. With the TALARIA, you get a couple extra features. You get a more solid bike, a heavier bike. But with the Sur Ron, I feel like as far as the riding style, I really enjoy the way that rides a little bit better. This one feels more comfortable. Dude, it's so hard. If I was more of a dirt bike rider, I think I would go with the TALARIA. If I'm more of a street rider, I'd probably go with the Sur Ron. So that might give you guys my answer. I would have to pick the Sur Ron over the TALARIA, but I'm telling you guys, it's such a minimal difference that once you add the upgrades, once you change the bike to make it the way you want it, you're not even going to notice any of it. If I were you guys, I recommend test riding both. Then you will really get an idea of which one that you want. Because man, bro, it is hard for me to decide. Man, I gotta drop this bike off here in about 20 minutes, so I'm gonna have to wrap up today's video. I do want to give a huge thank you to the guys at J&W Battery for letting me test ride this TALARIA. That's a lot of trust to give someone who rides bikes kind of crazy. So shout out to them. And before I end this video, just a last reminder, guys, we got the biggest Sur Ron ride in the country happening on November 10th. That shit's coming up real quick. I'm also going to be live on Instagram with Sur Ron Texas. We're going to be talking about the event. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram, check out that live. We're going to be talking about so many cool things. I'm excited for that. I think that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed it, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Oh, I guess I never said that the key's different. I kind of like the TALARIA key a little bit better. I'm going to pick the TALARIA just for the key fob.